Hello, everybody in Facebook world and YouTube world and all over the world. How's that? Hopefully I'm live. I am, I got to put up my ticker. Ask me some questions, people. It's New Year's Eve. Happy New Year. New Year's special. So here we are, about to enter into 2021. Wow. Yeah. So actually, let me look. I'm going to put comments. So yeah, put some comments up, please, whoever is watching, and let me know that you're watching, and let me know if you can hear me, because I am flying completely solo this time. I'm trying to get used to it. As most of you know, Ben's life is, Ben does everything for me and has for years, and his life has gotten, we'll just say, complicated lately. So he's going through some stuff. So it's time for me to start taking care of some of this stuff myself. So yeah, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if this is just a blank recording, because I have no idea. Very well could be. And welcome to the Freedom. Welcome to Freedomville. This is where we're heading in 2021. So you guys thought 2020 was crazy? It was. But 2021, it's it could be amazing. It could be amazing. It was kind of, I remember last year, it's like at the beginning of everything, I don't think it was the new year, but shortly thereafter, when the pandemic kind of came out, it was, you could feel the energy. And right at the beginning, I was saying, I don't know what this is, but it's got a ton of energy to it. So if everything is energy. So it doesn't matter if we're talking about a pandemic or if we're talking about absolutely anything, and everything is made up of energy. So I didn't know much about the pandemic, like a lot of us probably still don't, but it had a lot of energy. It still does. It has a lot of energy to it. So if you kind of envision it like a wave, a wave is made up of energy. It's water energy, but it's energy. So if you picture it like a wave, if you catch that wave going in the direction that it's going, and like a surfer, and you ride that wave, it's going to be one hell of a ride, and it's probably going to be exciting because there's so much energy to it. It's going to be exciting, and it's probably going to be a little bit scary, but if you go with it, oh my God, it's amazing. And that is, this is what the spiritual life is all about. Going with it, not going against it, because that's the other, you only have two options. You either go with it or you go against it. And if you go against it, you crash and burn. It's a difficult wipeout. So I recommend going with it. And in 2020, we never knew it was going to look like the way it looked, but hey, it did. And it's wrapping up, and there are stages, and we're going into another stage. And I think I think 2020 was the strip away stage. You know, this is not a this is not a new dynamic. What I'm talking about, you know, basically you have to strip away what you're used to, what you lean on, your expectations, all that type of stuff. So you have to strip that away so you can bring in the new. You know, it's a birth and a rebirth process, a death and a rebirth. I just did a Temazcal and today, which is like a sweat lodge, and you know, that's what it symbolized, is the death and the rebirth. And so we are going into another stage of that, you know, death and rebirth in 2021. So like, what's this one going to look like? And, you know, for those who haven't really let go of the thought that they can control things, it's probably going to look like more of the same as 2020 looked. But for the people who have actually begun to shift and to look at things differently and to use this as a learning experience and starting to create a new life in a new way that's more functional, and more sustainable in the long term. You know, once we start doing that, then we're heading in the right direction. You know, I think, let's see, Katie said something. I don't think we necessarily had to strip away. I think it was a lot of dealing with things. Let me click this so you guys can see it. Katie says, I don't think we necessarily had to strip away. I think it was a lot of dealing with things and then letting them go, if that makes sense. Yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, that's just a different way of saying basically the same thing. And quite honestly, Katie, that might be a more clear way of saying what I was trying to say. Yeah, dealing with things and letting them go. It's, you know, we have to see this. I'm going to try to sum it up like in a fairly simple way. So it's if we find ourselves holding on, going like, oh, I can't wait for this to be over, that should be a warning sign. If you are holding on, and I'm not saying that, like, this is when it's time to be honest with yourself. This has been coming up a lot lately. We need to learn to be honest with ourselves. And there is a gigantic life-altering, the biggest difference humanly possible between I don't want the pandemic, what everybody thinks of the pandemic, people getting sick and dying, and the whole, virus aspect of the pandemic, that I would like that to end. I wish that wasn't happening anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, nobody wants this to be happening anymore. I don't want it to be happening anymore. I mean, nobody does. Who wants to watch people suffer and die and all the controversy that goes with it and all that stuff? Of course, we don't want it to continue happening. So that's healthy, but there's a gigantic difference between that and holding on to your thinking the way it's always been, holding on to your life the way it's always been, and trying to just hold out without changing until the pandemic's over. That's night and day. It's two completely different things. One is completely natural, of course, but you have to go within and get still and really ask yourself which one it is. Because what happens is if you don't get still and learn to be honest with yourself with a question like this and a lot of other questions, what happens is the answer, you can tell you're full of crap when the answer comes back so quickly. So like if I go, hey, would you like the pandemic to be over? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a surface answer. There's no depth to that. You haven't found anything out about that. You don't know how you feel. You don't know how you're processing things. You don't know if you're growing or if you're dying or if you're in between. Like there's no meat there. There's no information there. But to go inside and go like, am I just holding on? We need to learn to get still and ask ourselves these questions and feel the answers from our body. If this goes on for another 3 years, I'll be fine. I don't want it to go because, my intellectual part and says a pandemic sucks. Well, yeah, of course, I don't want it to continue. But if this were to continue for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I would continue growing. And I think if you look at my life in the last year, it would allude to the truth of that. I as soon as this started, I was like, I need to go within. I need to go deep. I need to ask myself these deep questions. There is a big wave of energy, and I need to find out what it's going to do to me or for me. And if I get in the way of it and resist it, it's going to hurt. And I don't like hurting. So I'm going to see what I need, how I can go with it. So I went within and I got international travel, which had been bubbling up for years. So that made sense. And I got community, experiencing different cultures, connecting to community. Community is important. And that's what I was getting when I kept going within. And I was kind of getting that already. I was just getting it much deeper and much clearer. So that's what I did. So I traveled internationally. I found a spiritual community of people that I connected with and released a lot of stuff. It's been a very growing time for me. And then realized that this is the first time in my life I have freedom to do whatever I want because my son's older. He's able to take care of himself. So now all of a sudden I have freedom, which when you're a parent, you have to think about your child. So this is kind of new, new for a while. And before my son was born, I was, I was an alcoholic, couldn't get out of my own way. So I didn't have clear thinking. So this is the first time in my life where I had clear thinking and freedom all at the same time. So, this is what I found. This is my version of opening. Like people don't have to travel internationally to get what I'm saying. I'm just using what worked for me as an example. This is what I saw when I went inside, got honest with myself, didn't climb into victim mode or fear mode and said, what do I need? How can, what can enhance my life moving forward? How can I use this massive wave of energy to improve my life, to ride that wave instead of getting wiped out by it? And that's what I came up with. So I think, a lot of people have done this. Most of my clients have done this. They kind of embraced it, went inside and went with it. And it doesn't mean it's been easy for all of my clients. It hasn't. Some of them experienced great loss during this. But it's just so interesting. Honestly, the people that are in my personal circles, and I'll just get specific, that have lost people either because of COVID or just for some other reason in this time frame, in the whole mix of everything. Hey, Happy New Year, Ben. Ben's with us. Hey, let me know, Ben, if you can hear me and see me okay, if I'm doing everything right. So the people who have gone through great loss as a part of this new year, they have handled it so amazingly well. I have never in my life seen people handle tragedy and loss as well as this. I think it's a testament to how we are changing as people. We're really changing, and that's what I think this whole wave of energy is about. It's about us changing, going forward, evolving, understanding that while death is sad and we have to grieve and all those aspects that comes with it, it's also a natural part of life. And none of us have a guaranteed amount of time here. So it's not like something necessarily went wrong. It's life has been going on for billions of years without us. There's a flow to life. So it's not, it's people just seem to be really falling into the celebratory mentality of their loved ones. And I think it's the most beautiful damn thing I've ever seen, because I know how hard it is. So like talking about everything is energy, I talked about the wave. Well, everything is energy. So experiencing a loss is energy. And if it's a loss of a close loved one, it's massive amounts of energy. So when you're experiencing that, to be able, it touches me. It really touches me and moves me, because I do have compassion for what these people are going through. And I do understand loss. I've had a lot of people I know die. Some of the people that are going through loss now, it's people that they were even closer to than the ones that I've lost in the past. So and everybody grieves differently. So I don't pretend to know what they're going through. What I do know is that it's a big freaking deal. And for them to embrace just the love, they embrace the love of the person that's no longer here. And it's like, wow, man, if that's not us changing as a species, I don't know what was. Because before this, I never saw that. I think it's dramatically shifting in that direction, that people are remembering the love, connecting to the love, embracing the love. And this is where we're going. This is the whole point of tonight's show. We are going into 2021, a whole new year. And I think that, all the change that a large portion of society has been through in one way, shape, or form, the amount of change that we've gone through, I don't even think we're aware of how much we've changed in the last year. I think we have changed the atmosphere, the collective vibration, the amount of love on this planet, the amount of people waking up either by force or by choice. That was what I was looking for. By force or by choice, if you're opening up to a life that you wouldn't have opened up to before, then you're starting to ride the wave. And I think it's just going to take off even more. I mean, it goes both ways. If you refuse to open to a better way of life, either collectively, individually, or both, if you refuse that, then it's going to look a lot like last year. You probably suffered a lot, and you're probably going to continue to suffer more, and please stop. But for most of us watching, I think that you're going to find that you've changed to some degree, and society is changing too. I see it when I look for it. It's like anything. Whatever you look for, you will find. So when I was over in the States, even for that brief period, man, I don't even watch the news. I haven't watched the news in 17 years, and I still got inundated with the negativity over there. We have to look for the positivity. We have to search it. Please Google anything you're interested in as far as something positive. Google the documentaries I'm finding on sustainable living and healthy ways of doing things and communities based in love. It's everywhere, all over the world. It's absolutely amazing what's going on out there. And it's really hopeful right now. And when you talk to people that it's so cool when I'm talking to spiritual people that are really anchored in, they look at you like, especially after being over the States. And I'm not saying that nobody in the States is anchored in. Of course, there's plenty of people over there. I just happen to not be around them. And I was kind of busy doing stuff. So over here, I kind of connect to more people like that. And they're just laid back, man. They're going like, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? All the where we're going, all the changes. This is beautiful. It's like, yeah, it really is, And let's get to some of these comments. Jane Young, Jingris. Jingris sounds different to me because I didn't know you married. I just know you as Jane Young growing up. Yes, Happy New Year, Jane. And Joanne, a happy and healthy New Year. Thank you. You too. And Elizabeth, Happy New Year. Thank you. Right back at you. And Kelly, Happy New Year. Thank you. Jane's agreeing. Masses are awakening. Heck yeah. Sandy. Hi, Sandy. Nice to see you. She's not always able to make it, I believe, because of a work schedule. So it's nice to see her. Rose, my new friend. It's nice to see you here. For some reason, every once in a while, Rose is one of those people that I don't really know, but every once in a while you just connect to somebody, like something about their face or a comment or something. So I don't know what's going on with you, Rose, but I have a feeling we're going to have a conversation here soon, because I feel some sort of connection with you. I've learned that letting go allows space for growth and expansion. Truth. That choice ultimately gives room for positive change and energy. It's always being conscious about it. Damn. And I'm learning to catch myself waver when you're wavering. Yeah, that's it. And which I think just reading now, what popped up for me was the important part. This is something that, it's surprising it's not taught more. This is like a cornerstone of spiritual or just happy living, if that's what you want to call it. And that's judgment. Like ultimately gives room for positive change and energy. It's always being conscious about it. Yeah. So we're trying to be conscious about it. The problem is we live unconsciously a large portion of the time. I mean, I still do stuff unconsciously, and I've been working at this a long time. Most of the world is unconscious. We're going to slip into unconsciousness here and there. So I'm learning to catch myself waver. And that's, yes, catch yourself when you waver and correct. But the big, piece that I was alluding to was non-judgment. We can't judge ourselves over that. We can't judge ourselves for wavering. So like I like everything's energy. So if we make it completely about work, most people have a negative context in their mind about work, right? So I like to make it about play. So, when you're trying to be conscious, wonderful. And you're learning to catch yourself, wonderful. But when you catch yourself, make it a game and make it playful. And then when you catch yourself, get excited, like pat yourself on the back for catching yourself, and then make your correction. So if normally what people do is they catch themselves not being conscious, and they go, oh man, I became unconscious. Oh, this sucks. Oh, I can't believe I slipped into unconsciousness again. Damn it, I was doing so good for a while. And they punish themselves for slipping into unconsciousness, which we're going to do that. It's like, and we should not be punishing ourselves for something that we're trained to do. We're trained to live unconsciously. We're domesticated to live unconsciously. Go look at a 3-year-old. Are they living unconsciously? No, they're completely in the moment. They don't understand time. It takes a very long time to teach children time because it's such a weird concept, So do not punish yourself for slipping into unconsciousness. It's natural. It's going to happen. Instead, flip-flop that, make it a game, and be like, oh, yeah, I caught myself. Ah, awesome. That means I can recenter. Because up until the point where you become aware that you're unconscious, you have no hope for change. You have no hope to become conscious because you're not even aware that you're unconscious. So, and everything is like that. You know, when you're in a dysfunctional relationship and it's going on and you're just trying to make it work, also one day the light bulb goes on and goes, my relationship sucks. Lots of times people get very upset, but like that's when you should start getting happy because now you can do something about it. Up until now, you had no hope of being in a happy, healthy relationship. So now that you realize that it sucks, now it's like, oh, good, the lights are on. Now I can do something about it. Now I can either try to change it, make it healthier. I could possibly get out of it if need be. You know, you have the opportunity. 3/4 of the problem, 3/4 of the time we live in misery is because we don't even know what the problem is. So once we get that awareness, that should be a celebratory time. That should be a celebration. Yes, sweet. Now I can change it. And then you start doing it. And when you do it in that energy, you know, when you're doing in that energy of playfulness and rewarding yourself for catching yourself, now all of a sudden it becomes fun. It becomes good. So your brain starts trying to do it more. Oh, he likes this. Oh, good. She likes this. Oh, it's a good, I feel good when I recognize. I think I'll try to recognize more. Then you start recognizing more. Then you fall into unconsciousness even less. You know, so don't judge yourself for doing it. Make it a game and flip-flop it. And instead of beating yourself up for being unconscious, celebrate and pat yourself on the back for your moment of awareness, because now you can start changing it. So I love all these comments. How exciting. Andrea, Happy New Year. And tell Frankie I said Happy New Year too. Jane, have I ever heard of shadow work? Yeah, I've heard of shadow work, and I've done some recently, and it's powerful. Rose, we're mostly on autopilot. We are mostly on autopilot. It's a fact. Hi, Rhonda. How are you? Janice, hi. It's that little Glenn on the table behind you. Yeah, my bobblehead. You guys see my little bobblehead? For those of you who haven't seen it before, that thing, I don't know what it is, man. The first time I heard was years ago that you could make a bobblehead of yourself, and I thought that was the funniest thing I had ever heard of. And so a year or two ago, I gave myself a Christmas present because I thought it was the funniest thing. I'm going to see if I can reach it without unplugging. Come on. Come on, LG. This is LG. This is Life's Good / Little Glenn. I have 2 cameras now. I don't know which one I'm using. It's better back here. This thing looks a little bit like Tom Brady at certain angles, which is kind of cool. I wish I looked like Tom Brady, but it's all good. So I swear to God, I laugh every time I look at that thing. I don't know. It's just one of the silliest, most fun things I've seen. Thank you, Rhonda. A little positivity. Very up. Oh, I gotta get in the habit of clicking these. I'm still getting better at this. Very uplifting after you challenge yourself to what's held you back. Yeah. See, this is the thing about spirituality or, you know, happy living, positive. I don't give a crap what you call it. It's just freaking life. I mean, let's get over the labels. One of the things that I love about living this way is the empowerment, you know, and I think that it's you know, it can be especially empowering for women because they've been held down for, you know, I mean, thousands of years. It's ridiculous. So the rising of the divine feminine, the feminine energy, is coming up now in this time. So ladies, it's your time, so so we're going to take a back seat, and but we all have feminine energy within us. But it's the empowerment, after being held down for thousands of years, generations and generations, for you to embrace your authenticity and your truth and get in touch with that empowerment. It's amazing when you start understanding. And all right, I'm going to go out on a limb here for a second because I feel like going out on a lot of limbs. Pay attention to a lot of my teachings if you're interested, because I can feel it already. This last week, it's been coming out of me. I am getting hardcore with some of my teachings. So it's going to get, and I've kind of always been like that, but now I can't hold it back. We have to get out of the victim mode. And it's a buzzword now. Everybody's going, oh, I'm not going to be a victim. As soon as you say like victim, people go, oh, no, I'm not a victim. No. And 3/4 of the time they are. It's just we know it's a buzzword. We know we're not supposed to be victim. So we go, no, I'm not that. Absolutely not. Yeah, most of the time we are. We all fall into victim mode. It's like the natural state of being out there. So it's very common. We all do it. I still do it sometimes, and it's okay. We just have to start recognizing it for what it is, because when we get on that other side of the victim, and we're not a victim of COVID, and we're not a victim of the government, and we're not a victim of life, and we're not a victim of unfairness, and we start reclaiming the power that is ours, we have way more control over our lives than we think we do. Way, way, way more control over our lives than we realize. And that's the dichotomy of spirituality. So when you open up and let go of control, what you end up with is empowerment, which is very similar to control. And you can kind of design your life the way you want it. So this is what you fall into when you do challenge yourself. And that's what I want people doing right now. Don't sit back and figure out, like, watch Corona on, or did they even call it Corona? I haven't heard the term in a while. COVID, whatever. Like, don't sit back and watch this play out. Like, empower yourself. Decide what you want to do. If this is messing with your job, look at what else you could be doing, like what actually could bring you joy, and try to find we're being pushed towards a happier life. That's a fact, because we are loved beyond measure. So it doesn't matter what you believe in, God, Jesus Christ specifically, he's behind me too. The universe, energy, it doesn't matter. It's all about expansion and love. And as we expand, becoming more loving. So if we expand, then we get positive feedback. This is all, we're being pushed to expand, to find more happiness in our lives, to find more peace in our lives. That's what we're being pushed towards. That's why for those of us that are aligning with it, life is really taking off. I mean, I traveled internationally for the first time in my life, except I think a little trip to Canada when I was like 12, to the Dominican Republic for 2 months, and then moved here. That's from an outside perspective, that's insane. But it's just, I rode the wave. Change happens quickly when you're riding a wave a lot of times. Let's go back to some of these comments. Andrea, thank you. And I'm so happy he told me about you, and you're definitely part of my tribe. You attract the tribe that you through your vibe, or something like that, they say. I always enjoy your posts. It's very inspiring. Great. And hopefully you check out the my podcast too. I don't even know. I lost track. I think there might be like 180 of them or something. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's like 100. I don't. My brain is a little fried. Sandy, awesome. We're getting some smiles from Rhonda. Rose, I think I'm getting a feeling that Rose was talking about my bobblehead. Let's see, what's this? Rhonda, I was just talking about self-awareness today with a client, and it was a great moment. Some people don't understand what that truly means. Yeah, that's it. You know, like so this is something that is kind of cool that I originally learned, and it helped me dramatically over the years. And I actually learned it in recovery, which, you know, a lot of you know that's where my spiritual awakenings happened. And that's how my journey started, through recovery from alcoholism. And when I was there, somebody said something very important. You know, you go to a lot of meetings, usually in AA, especially in the beginning, and they said, don't compare, identify. And they said, if you're sitting there listening to somebody and you go, oh, well, yeah, that's not exactly the same as what I went through. And that's, oh, they crashed 6 cars, I only crashed 3. And they lost their family. Well, I haven't lost my family yet. And like, if you're comparing stories, you're never going to get what you need to get out of a meeting, because you're comparing your story to their story. You need to go deeper and try to identify with what they are saying, which is usually more on a feeling level. So what's the point? It doesn't matter if you crash 6 cars or if you crash 3 cars. The problem is you're crashing cars, and that's a symptom of living dysfunctionally. That's a way of living where you are not in control of yourself and your actions, and it's starting to mess with your life, and you are feeling confused and you don't know what's wrong. So you can connect with the feelings. Oh, I felt confused and I didn't know what was wrong. I knew things were happening, but I rationalized them. You know, so that when you start looking for that stuff, then you start identifying with what the person is trying to say, the real meaning of what they're trying to say, not the details of their story. You know, so this is, so when you're listening to people talking, pay attention. We need to learn to pay attention more to our body. Because when something clicks with you, so people use the word, they say, it clicked with me, it resonated. Oh, I felt that. You know, and if you notice those terms, they're not intellectual terms. You know, if somebody understands something, usually they'll say, I get that. Sometimes I hear that when it's intellectual, which is fine. It's okay to understand things intellectually. But you go, you know, oh, I understand. You know, that's intellectual. So if you start paying attention when you're coming across any positivity, spiritual, what was the term here? Self-awareness, mindfulness, anything like that. If you pay attention to your body, you'll notice that there's a knowingness that comes, that you can feel in your body when you connect to something that's being said. That is your inner voice. That is your connection to divine wisdom. That's your inner knowingness. And you can always follow that. So pay attention to that, and don't get so caught up with terms and things. And if you don't connect with one thing that a teacher is saying or something, hang on and try to just pass that one aside and go, I don't know about that one. I don't really know about that one. It just doesn't, it's not connecting. But I like the teacher. Oh, okay, listen. And then you'll find something, oh, I like that though. Oh, okay, I connect to that. Okay, now that's your truth. If you're connecting to it and you're feeling it and you resonate with it, that's your truth. And that's what you should be connecting to. There's many times, especially early on, when I was listening to teachers or reading, and I'm like, no way, they're so full of crap on that one. And part of me wanted to shut the book and, whatever. And I went, oh, no, let's just push it aside. It's just not my truth. Not every single thing they say has to be my truth. So I'll just push it aside for now. And then I go back and read that book a year or two later, and I'm like, oh my God, they were right. I just wasn't ready to hear it, which is cool. It's, so don't, people don't understand what it truly means. I kind of alluded, it's funny you said that, Rhonda, because I kind of alluded to that in the beginning of this show. I said, living spiritually or whatever, whatever you want to call it, talking positively, it doesn't matter what you call it, it's living. And I think we're going to start seeing that now. We just don't know how to live in a healthy, meaningful way. And we're starting to find that out. Let's see, Rose, haven't watched the news for over 2 years. Yeah, I haven't watched it in over 17 years. And I still know way too much about what's going on. It's just, you get completely inundated. Did I say that right? I don't know. I avoid people's opinion. Yeah. Well, you know what they say about opinions. Opinions are like assholes. We all have them and they all stink. Oh, I love it. Hey, Steve, there's my brother-in-law. Hope you guys are doing well, staying warm in Massachusetts. And yes, Happy New Year to you, Steve, and my sister and my nieces and everybody else you're in contact with. I'm enjoying reading your book. Yes, Andrea got my book, Down to Earth, The Spiritual Being's Guide to a Happy Human Experience. You're very welcome. I know it sounds cliche. It's like, this is like, it was just a privilege to be nominated. It's the same thing. Everybody's like, yeah, right. No, it's, it really is my pleasure to share this stuff because it's inside of me and it has to come out. So, so it feels good. It feels good to share. And I feel, this is our natural way of being. It's giving and receiving. I've opened up to be able to receive from people. I'm receiving that comment. So check this out. This is interesting. I haven't thought of this in a while. So it says, I am enjoying reading your book, like my book. Glenn Ambrose has a book. I'm Glenn Ambrose. That sounds weird if I slow down and think that I'm an author, I have a book. It just, it's like, whatever. That's kind of weird. Thank you for all your wisdom. And I have wisdom and I have wonderful energy. This thing is packed full of compliments to me. I remember what's interesting about that is because when I read that, I received it. I was like, wow, that's so nice of her to say. And I received her words. And if you guys pay attention or you go look back in the replay, I think that you'll really try to pay attention to my energy. You're going to see that there wasn't ego attached to it. I wasn't going, yeah. Oh, you like my book, huh? Yesterday. So I'm an author. Of course you do. Yes, everyone knows. No, there was no energy like that. I don't think I'm better than anybody because I wrote a book or that somebody said that they're enjoying wisdom and energy from me. I don't think I'm better than anybody. It's not about that. But I needed to learn to get like that. I wasn't like that before because we have no examples of that unless we look really closely in society. Most people that are getting accolades, they're attached to the accolade that they're getting, and it is ego-based. And we've been taught from a very young age, don't think you're better than anybody. What do you think, you're better than everybody? So we've been taught to downplay everything and play small. And we can't be ourselves if we're busy playing small. We can't. We need to open up to the fact that we all do have things to offer to other people, and it's okay. And it's okay to receive a compliment. And so I guess I'm going full circle. Again, in recovery, I was standing there, and I've told this story before. There was a few people standing there, and there was this guy I really respected his sobriety and how he lived his life. And he was talking, and I was really interested in his story, and I was paying attention. And all of a sudden somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I have to go. I can't hang. Otherwise I wouldn't have interrupted the conversation. But I just had to say real quick, thank you very much for what you did or what you said." I forgot what he was thanking him for. But he thanked him for something. And this guy that was talking just stopped midstream. He put his attention on the guy, received the compliment, and he looked at him and he went, "You're welcome." And the guy was like, "Okay, cool, great. I just need to say that." And he ducked out and he was gone. And then the guy started the conversation back. And I was sitting there and I could see all of this happening. Like that was like what happened to me when I woke in spiritually. I could see stuff and understand stuff. And I was like that dude in the Bose chair with the music playing. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Like this guy just came in. He received a compliment. He just openly, there was no ego. He just took it, gave the guy an honest, "You're welcome" back, and moved on. And my mind was blown. I had never seen anything like that before. And I remember going, I want to be able to do that someday. Now, this may sound, now that I'm done my little story, I realize that it might sound ridiculous to all you people, but I know some of you will get it. But, this is the type of thing that it's give, receive. That got me on the tangent that I was just on. It's giving and receiving. So I learned to give. I give what was so freely given to me, and that is wisdom that can help other people live happier lives. So I give that. I don't think I'm any better than anybody that's giving anything else. Like sometimes people try to turn life coaching into an egoic thing, like kind of in a backwards way, which is they're like, wow, because it's kind of clear that I give and I help. So people are like, oh, that's cool. That I wish I could do that. And it's like, it's no different than somebody fixing your toilet. They're giving of their time and their abilities and their knowledge and making your life better. It's the exact same thing. We don't have to be a spiritual teacher or anything else. You do what is natural to you. And that's how we give. We need everybody doing a bunch of different things. That's what's so beautiful about community, is we get to have community and we all get to do different things. And we all work together, and together we can, and individually we can't. So if I'm a life coach and I'm sitting over here and I'm just like, well, I don't, I'm important, all you people aren't, I got a pretty crappy life, And if it's a toilet problem, I literally have a crappy life. See what I did there? I'm corny today. I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. So I think I mentioned this. I did that Temazcal. I have to think when I pronounce that. Temazcal, the sweat lodge today with a bunch of amazing people. And wow, putting ceremony behind what you're doing is amazing. It just makes it that much more special. So as you're living, here's something that you can kind of take with you. So like, no matter what you do, if you sit down and meditate, if you sit and get still and just feel yourself, if you go buy yourself flowers, if you spend time looking online, researching how to live sustainably, or anything that interests you that can better your life, or new careers, or anything, stop for a moment before you do it and be like, notice that this is an act of self-love. You're doing it because you love yourself, and then do it. And then after, sit for a moment, even if it's 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and just be like, wow, I just did that because I love myself. I just did that because I care about me and what my experience looks like on this earth. That feels pretty good. That's how you build your self-esteem and your self-love, is to do things like that. Tim, all right. Well, I can't cut it short now. Tim just pops something on, and he usually has very interesting things to say. Tim, great stuff. I never had an alcohol problem, but I do have a music problem. The stuff you said about don't compare, but identify rings true there. I find myself, oh yeah, I bet it does. I find myself in a situation where people compare musicians all the time. I hate it because I've only been in competition with myself. Most of the great competitors say that, even in sporting activities where it looks like it's more competitive externally. The great ones usually say that exact same thing. When people come up and say, you kick so-and-so ass's guitar, so-and-so's ass on guitar, and so-and-so kicks your ass. Meanwhile, we're out having a beer. The older I am, the less patience I have for being compared. Yeah. I mean, if I have, so I'm going to, I don't particularly, Tim isn't one of my clients, and I don't think he necessarily has any intention on being one. So I don't like really jumping in saying, you should do this, you should do that. So I'm not. I think, but I do notice I am identifying with what he just said. So my version of what you just said, the older I am, the less patience I have for being compared. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, but that's the other side of the coin. So if I am getting frustrated by somebody else's behavior, then I'm getting frustrated by somebody else's behavior. And then I have work to do on that. So that's what I try to remind myself of. Because if I'm waiting for everybody to live functionally and kindly and not compare and not say things rude or handle situations, if I'm waiting for everybody else to change before I experience peace, I'm in for a long wait. This is where that empowerment comes in that I talked about earlier. I love when it goes full circle. So yeah, it's that, it's just that being empowered to take control over my own space and just go, yeah, they probably shouldn't be comparing me. But if it's triggering me, that's work I need to do. So that's how I usually work on it. You just go play your freaking guitar, Tim. I don't, it's all good. I love, you are an amazing guitar player and singer. I love watching your videos. Such beautiful. Ben's back on. Thank you. Yes, I'm still live, Ben. It's raw. Look at all the freaking comments I got here, man. It's like rolling. I have a hard time stopping. You know that. Can you tell me one of your favorite inspirational speakers or teacher? Yeah, I really like this little guy. Yeah, my favorites are Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, amazing, all his stuff. I think at one point I owned everything that he ever put out years ago. So yes, Eckhart Tolle and Michael Bernard Beckwith, completely different flavor, but amazing message. Love his teaching. He live streams a lot with his Agape Live spiritual center in California. Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. If you haven't read it, read it, and then read a couple of his other books. He's got quite a few, but that actually comes in a package of 3. The Four Agreements, you can get it like this: The Four Agreements, The Voice of Knowledge, and something about love. I can't remember, but I got that 3-book package. I really enjoyed all 3 of them, but The Four Agreements is a must read. And the last one of my favorites, all-time favorites, is Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul. Amazing book. And he has some good videos too. And if you're in Florida, he's got a spiritual center there. I went and met him there. Great guy. He speaks a couple times a week. So yeah, those are my favorites. And there's plenty more. Pema Chodron, and there's so many good teachers out there right now. It's insane. Sandy, miss listening to you. Yes, keep listening. The podcasts come out every 2 weeks. This is on every week. I might turn this into the podcast. I might just do this every week and make it the podcast, and maybe even have some guests on. Go all night, Ben. You're loco en la cabeza. See, I learned Spanish here. Happy better year to everyone. Be grateful for all you learned and how you grew this year. Thanks, Glenn. Thank you, Deidre. Deidre's here in the DR with me. Yes. And yeah, and so I'm going to finish on this. Because I like the way that was phrased. Happy better year to everyone. Yes, because that encompasses everyone, and it doesn't necessarily imply that 2020 sucked. Because because that's victim. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where sometimes we're in victim mode and we don't really think it is. If you're walking around bitching about how much 2020 sucked, then you're in victim mode. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole. It's just a fact. You are. It's that because you are a victim of 2020, and it sucked, and it had control over what happened in your world. And that is not empowerment. So as you walk this path, and if you don't get that, it's okay. Take some deep breaths before you get completely upset with me. And maybe that's your work, because if you can figure out the shift in that, it's going to be really beneficial to you. So you can get out of the victim mode, and everything it's not good. It's not bad. It just is. And it's up to us if we use it as an opportunity to have a better year. I had a great year, 2020. I mean, I have compassion for all the suffering that went on. I'm not saying that, but I had a great 2020 because I made it great. Nobody did it for me. It wasn't because I lived in the right place so yes, I hope to have an even better 2021, even though I had a great one. And if you didn't like 2020, the ball's in your court. 2021 is not going to magically be better. You have to make it better. That's the empowerment that comes with. So when we get out of the victim mode, thinking that we are a victim of life, and we start understanding that we have more control over what we do, that's where we find the empowerment and the happiness that we're seeking. Amy, it's not their journey, so there shouldn't be any comparison. Yeah, well, I agree with you, Amy. Oftentimes there is, so we just have to try to not let it get to us. Thank you, Tim, Rhonda, Janice, Deidre. 2020 was my best year. Not trying to gloat over it. See, don't apologize. It was your best year. It's okay. That's wonderful. Don't play small to make other people feel okay. 2020 was your best year. Excellent. It was one of my best years too. That doesn't mean that we have no compassion for other people. That just means that we took the opportunity of the energy wave and turned it into something special for ourselves. That's all. And had time for the first time in a long time. Yes, a lot of us had time for the first time. Start building a life where we have more of it. Do not go back to the way things were. Rhonda had 2 major losses, but still feels blessed. This is what I mean, man. Even in the losses, we're starting to feel more blessed. We are changing, people. We are changing. If you use the losses as a catalyst to growth, that's the shit, man. I got to stop swearing if I'm going to release this without a warning. Or maybe I'll stop putting a warning. All right, dudes. Hey, thank you so much for all. This was my first time flying solo, completely solo, although Ben was nice enough to check in a couple times. Thank you so much for all the comments and keeping the conversation going, because that's a big thing of what Ben always did for me. And since he wasn't here, the fact that you guys could keep me rolling on stuff was just really appreciated. So thank you. Go, and thank you, Carrie. Yeah, Carrie's on. Thank you guys so much for really, you guys are, not to sound corny, you guys are why I do what I do. It's because there's people out there that seem to feel better or click with the things that I'm saying. So as long as that's happening, I'm going to keep yapping. And anybody that grew up with me, which is plenty of you from Gadna, from G Vegas, hey, there's plenty of you out there, and you know that I've never been able to shut up. So I'm probably going to be yapping for quite a while. All right, I got to cut it out. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a happy new year, an awesome 2021. No victim. Make it the best year ever. If you ride that wave, man, the energy is with you. You could knock it out of the park this year. So go do it. All right, peace out. Oh, hold on. What do I got to do? Oh, well, I might just end it. We'll see.